Okay, the reason this wasn't working is I actually forgot that in our app delegate we need to set up some throughout application configuration for the colors of tab bar and navigation controller. So let's go to our app delegate.swift file. At the end we are going to write one function, and let's call this mark UI configuration. And say private func setup UI configuration. And here we are going to set up the default colors for our tab bar and UI navigation bar. So let's start from tab bar, UI tab bar dot appearance, and then we say shadow image is equals UI image. This is just an empty image we pass, so there is no shadow. And we say UI, let me just copy this because we're going to use it a lot. So we say the other thing, we want to set the background image. So we say background image is equals to UI image. And again, we want just an empty image there. Dot background color. Here we want to set this to the primary color. Then we want to set user, actually unselected item tint color. And this what it means that by default when you have these tab bars, it has a tint color for the items that are selected and a different tint color for the items that are not selected. And this is the way you can actually understand which item is currently selected and which ones are not selected. Since we are going to use specific color combination and our buttons are going to be white, it's very hard for the eye to catch if the button is selected or no. That's why we are changing a tint color for an unselected item, so it's easier for the user to understand currently selected and unselected buttons. And remember this color we created, tab bar unselected, as a tint color. And for the tint color of the tab bar, which is basically the text color, we say tint color equals dot white. So we always want our text to be white. Currently, if I select it, it's gonna be, remember it was the red color. This is for a tab bar. And now we need to do the navigation bar. The tab bar is at the bottom, navigation bar is at the top. So we want our application to have this pinky kind of unified color from top and from the bottom. So I say UI navigation bar dot appearance, and let me just copy this a few times. And here again we say dot bar tint color is equals to UI color dot primary we need to initialize this and then we can access the primary. Then we want to set the background color equals dot UI color dot primary, and we say dot tint color equals dot white. title text attributes. We're going to set some attributes for our title text, and we're going to put the color of the title, so it's always specific color, no matter if our user has it dark mode or light mode. So in order to get these title text attributes, it accepts an array of ns attributed string. So we say ns attributed string dot key dot foreground color is, let's set it to dot UI color dot white. And the last thing we need to set is translucent is equals to false. Okay, let's just try this thing out. If I go to my main storyboard, currently we have no navigation controller to test this, but it's quite simple to do. Select the first item here, go to editor, embed in navigation controller, and this will create a navigation controller next to it. The same thing you can do with the item, second item, embed in navigation controller. Now we can move everything nicely here. Okay, let's run, and first I want to see if this toolbar for our picker works properly, and then we are going to remove this auto login comment out, and on next run it's going to take us there. Right, okay, let's see here, setup, we didn't call the function. Let's do this. In our app delegate, after our Firebase authentication, we're calling this function. Let me just comment this out real quick and we test this. You see, sometimes you write a code like we did now with our app delegate, the long one, and then you run, you expect to see some results, and simply you just forgot to call that function. Alright, this is now funny because it's still red. Primary, tint white. Let's try something UI. Let's just say dot green. And in our register here, let's just say dot yellow and try this. Right, this works, but for some reason this extension thing doesn't want to work properly. Alright, I found my typo here. Actually, instead of navigation bar appearance tint color white, we need to say UI bar button appearance bar button item dot appearance tint color equals white, and then if you rerun, it should be showing us the correct color. Now it's cancel and done button, both of them are white. So you see, I click on a cancel, it disappears. And when I click on the done, nothing happens. Let's write the functionality for our done button. So we have this handle date picker, and then we have our done button. And let's write first handle date picker. What we want to do is we want to take the date of our date picker that was selected, and then we want to set it as the text of our date of birth text field. So we say date of birth text field dot text is equals, and then we have our date picker dot date, and this returns the selected date. And now we need to convert this into a string so we can put it as a text of our date picker text field. So let's go to our extensions here, and in our extensions we are going to write another extension, and this time instead of a color we are going to write it for our date. So we say extension and then we say date, and for the date we are going to have currently we need 2, so say func long date, and this will return a string, and func string date, and this is gonna return a string. Okay, the long date. Now we need to just create a specific date format that we want to show to our user, and we're going to convert the date into that date format and return the string. So say let date formatter is equals to date formatter, and we initialize one, then we say date formatter date format is equals, and then you can set a date format you want. I'm going to set it to double-digit date, the month, which is going to be the short month name, and YYYY is the year with 4 digits. So let's say 2020. Then we're going to return, and then we access our date formatter dot string from date, and then we are going to pass self. So this is called on a date object itself. So if I take any date object, say dot long date, it's gonna come here, take the long date, convert it into a format as it stands here, and then it's going to return a string back. We just copy paste the same thing. The string date, I just change a format. This one is handier if we want to name a file, for example. So I will say dd mmm year for Y's, hour, minute, second. So if you want to give some unique name to your files, you can use this string, and you just get a date and convert it to a string, and then you have a unique file name based on the time of the creation of the file. Command P to make everything autocomplete work, and string, I'm missing an N here. Now we get back to our register view controller, and here we're going to say date picker.date dot, and what did we call it? A long date dot. So this will set the date picker's value to our date of birth. And then for the done button clicked, again we want to say dismiss the keyboard. So actually what we can do is done button click, and we say dismiss keyboard. So we don't want to have another function just here for the purpose. Command P to build our application. And let's go ahead and run this. So the done button works, the cancel works, and this is, let me just try one thing. If I change this, where is it? iOS, I say 13.4, 13.5, and let's try to run this on a simulator. I just want to see this is an Xcode 12 problem, or if we run on a different simulator, this may work properly, so we can see our date picker and test the functionality of the date picker. Let's go to register date picker. No, it doesn't. So what you can do if you have a proper version of Xcode, if you have this issue, of course, on next beta you may not have this. If you run this application using the Xcode 11 point whatever is the latest version, which is the stable version, you will be able to see this date picker here, and while you choose a date, it's gonna appear here in our date of birth text field.